What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we are going to go ahead and take a second to talk about BattleBit. Now, this game we discussed a little while ago on this channel, but I haven't touched upon it in a while, obviously, because it's a little difficult to get into the play sessions. You have to watch their Discord and watch their times. I believe it's like mostly on Saturdays, sometimes on, more of the weekend. And it starts at, God, I don't know, like 8 or 9 in the morning and ends around noon Eastern time. So if you live, Eastern time, it's hard, especially on the weekends if you've been working all day long or if you go to class all the time and you get to relax a little bit. You're not going to be waking up at 8 in the morning to try out, BattleBit. I'm going to be honest. More than likely, you're not going to go ahead and do so. But man, I wanted to go ahead and dabble back in this experience to see if it has improved at all. Because again, you got to keep in mind, this game was popping off and Battlefield 2042 was at its lowest low peak. It was absolutely getting demolished. And then this game came out. And despite it looking like Roblox, the destruction, the player count, the interactions, and even the team play was phenomenal within this game. So coming back and trying it out, I got to be honest with you guys, it is actually still extremely fun. But before we go ahead and dabble more into what this game is all about, how it's turning out, current day after all of these months later, I do want to mention, if you enjoy what you hear in today's video, don't forget, hit the like button. It helps in the algorithm. And of course, if you enjoy the content that you see on this channel, by all means, subscribe as well. We're on the grind of 40,000 subscribers. I believe we're less than 50 away, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely insane. So of course, thank you all for all the support. Like I said, if you enjoy FPS content, even third-person shooter content, and you want to see more of this stuff, subscribe. Hit the bell notification button. I post every single day. And like I said, I've been trying to keep it really refreshing and unique, so you're not just going to be expecting the same COD stuff or the same Battlefield stuff. I'm going to be really branching out here. Again, it's rough for the algorithm, but for myself mentally, my mentality, it's fantastic. And it seems like for you guys as well, variety is great. So that's how we're going to be pushing from here on out. And of course, very quickly, I want to plug this as well. If you want a little bit extra content besides the YouTube videos, we live stream over on Twitch every single day, besides Sundays, of course, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So, by all means, if you want to tune in, hang out, we always have open lobbies no matter what game we're playing. And at the same time, I am extremely active. I take tons of pride with being very active when it comes to chat. So if you want to talk to me, communicate with me, or even just, check out the vibes, the link to my Twitch channel is down in the description of this video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now as I was saying, BattleBit. This game, all of these months later, how has it improved? Is it any better? Is it worth, waiting for? Because let's be real here. When it comes to any game that is a indie-styled game, which this is, only one person started making this project, and I believe that one person branched out to 3, maybe 4. Correct me, obviously, if I'm wrong in the comment section. It's a little bit of a bigger team, but trust me, it's nothing compared to the 3,000 devs working on COD. Funny enough that these, 4 developers can still do a lot more work, a lot more updates, and just keep their game pumping along more than the 3,000 devs over on COD, but still, that's not the point of this video. The point that I'm trying to make here is when games are like this, they don't typically last if they don't get them out as fast as possible. It's almost like a ticking time bomb. You have to be able to insert this game at the right time, the right moment, the right time in order for it to actually pop off, which would have been while Battlefield 2042, was simply dying. But now Battlefield 2042 is reviving itself, and this game is still here pumping along. Now, I respect the choices of the developers of this game. They've already said multiple times that they don't want to bring this to a open form or even in a beta where people can play it constantly. They like the way they're handling it now because, it's only very short play tests on very specific days, and the rest of the time they can put forth trying to perfect the game, perfect the experience, get the performance right, and just, make the game as good as it can be. It's probably going to be live service, but at the end of the day, they don't want to release it like it's a live service. They want the game to be good at launch. And I respect that 110% because ever since live service has been introduced into games, let's be real here, games release in very bad forms because the developers know that they can spend all year long, all 2 years long, all 3 years long, just developing it and building it back up. It's not like back in the day where they released a copy and, the game was what it was. If it sucked, trust me, it's never going to get better. It's going to be exactly as bad as it's been since you could go buy a disc copy right now and see with your own eyes. But nowadays, developers can update their game so easily and so smoothly that they can do exactly what they're doing. Release it, absolute garbage, and then over time, start building it up and making it a better experience. They don't want to follow that agenda, and I am very thankful for that. I respect that 110%. So at this point, we have to ask ourselves, like I said, is it worth the wait? Is this game still going to be relevant all the way down the road when they finally can launch it? Yeah, I honestly think there will be a player base for this title. There has not been one playtest that I have tried out where it's not absolutely packed with players. And we're talking about lobbies with what, over 200 plus individuals in each game. I think certain lobbies are like what, 120 versus 120, 128 versus 128, something around those numbers. That is absurd. Now, of course, again, the graphics allow the game to work like that. It allows for the destruction with the player count, so on and so forth, But the point that I'm trying to make here is that these 120, plus versus 120 plus servers are always popping, which means that players are active. And it's not just those servers. You have 64 versus 64. You have 32 versus 32. You have different, servers available, but they're all populated. You can find a game with such ease, which means that, to me personally, this game has a core audience. Now, it's not going to be the Battlefield killer. It's as simple as that. It's not going to kill Battlefield at all, but can it be something that is fun to have on the side? Can it be something that you can enjoy yourself on without having to, verse 1,000,001 sweats on the most, top tier game that's out nowadays? Yes, 110%. Now, I don't think you necessarily need to get into these play tests. You could keep it at that and, allow the community that's already in it to keep building and helping the developers perfect it until it can finally be launched for everybody to get their hands on. Of course, if you have extra time on your hands, you could try to hop into the play test, especially if you live in a different time zone than me. It'll probably be a lot easier for you. Like I said, 8 a.m. to noon is a little rough for a lot of people around my time zone. Like I said, people have jobs, they have school, they have things they have to do, and when the weekend comes around, they don't want to get up early. I don't blame them at all, but if you live in a time zone where it works perfectly for you, then give it a shot. But when it does release, it will definitely be worth dabbling in. Again, the simplicity of the graphics is always a major turnoff for a lot of people who do watch my channel, and I understand that. I get where you guys are coming from, But at the end of the day, down to the core, the game is just simply fun. It has a ton of Battlefield elements that even Battlefield 2042, still to this very day, is missing. And for me, that is just phenomenal. And it also showcases that, a higher player count isn't necessarily completely bad. It can be done. Now, of course, it does get extremely hectic when you're versing 120 versus 120, but it all comes down to map designs and flow. And, a lot of people do not like the direction that Battlefield 2042 is taking, but in this game, not a single person has complained about it. I just think that DICE needs to figure out how to balance out massive player counts with well-designed maps and make sure the performance still functions, because I feel like that's the biggest turnoff is the performance. Of course, I'm not saying cut out 64, players 32 versus 32. Don't do that at all. Keep that in the game. But I don't necessarily think it's the right move to completely scrap 64 versus 64. But back to what we're talking about here. Sorry, I get a little sidetracked sometimes. This game is still fun, and all of these months later, after coming back into the experience, it doesn't feel like what it felt like before. I was a little worried that it wasn't going to be much progress, but honestly, the optimization, the performance, even down to the gunplay itself, the hit detection, feels way crispier. And they're also bringing in brand new additions, like they brought in a Nightbird. They're bringing in choppers and stuff like that for you to use. They're adding on to the core game itself, which is also another plus. Honestly, I see BattleBit as a game that is going to, it's going to build its own community. It's going to build its own fan base, just like things like Frontlines, in Roblox or, World War III. These games, they're going to build their communities, but we can't expect them to outshine Battlefield or outshine any of these AAA publishers. We just have to be able to accept that these are going to be games that we have in our catalog that we can, dabble in every once in a while. But I feel like the thing that's going to go wrong here is typically what always happens to a lot of gamers. They overfocus one game. And it happens to me all the time. I overfocus COD. I overfocus Battlefield. I just really enjoy a game and I start really grinding out hours. But that usually typically brings just, you're not going to have fun. That's the moral of the story. You're not going to have fun. But adding these things in here, and if I, sprinkle a little bit of this here and sprinkle a little bit of that there, you will be able to enjoy it a bit more, respect it a bit more. Not Call of Duty, obviously, because my God, the skill-based matchmaking is horrendous. You'll never be able to sprinkle yourself around that one. But these games right here, all these indie-style games, they are definitely worth giving it a go. Now, sadly, it's not on console, and I can't even imagine this potentially coming out on console anytime soon, if ever. But for PC players out there, definitely give it a go. If you have time to hop into playtest, hop into playtest. And if you don't have any time to hop into playtest, put it on your wish list and wait for it to drop, because it will definitely be worth your time. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, subscribe and hit the notification button. Also, on chat with this too, we do so have Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also, go and catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See y'all next one. Peace out.